This is 89.7 FM. Broadcasting live 24 hours a day. 89.7 FM.
This is the Business Buzz on RMR 89.7 FM. It's your boy MobbJustice, and the time is around 22 minutes to 7 p.m. on Grahamstown's youth station. Now, I'm joined by two lovely ladies in the building for our Real People, Real Careers, and they tell me that their business is called Exquisite Yummies. Yes. Is that EY?
That's correct. Yes, EY.
EY. Yummies.
Yes.
Cool. So yes, so they are in the business of, for now I'm just gonna say confectioneries. You know, maybe you guys can, make a correction for me on that point. But otherwise, they're in the business of confectioneries. So yes, very quickly, like I said, I've got Tafadzwa and I've got Vinia in the building. So can you just tell us what it is you guys just do, from just basic, for the ones that don't know what's going on?
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Vinia and this is Tafadzwa.
Yeah.
So our business is mainly baking and catering. So the initial purpose is to provide catering on a budget.
Yeah.
Yes. So we bake cupcakes, cakes, we make scones, we make samosas, or anything else you want in your platters. If you want drumsticks, wings, if you want dips.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Vegetarian samosas. Yeah.
Okay. So is it confectionaries? The only reason I'm saying that is because you guys are doing like a wide range of cooking, because once we get into the dip and the samosas and all that, so I need to know. You need to make me understand.
Well, I think confectionery mainly focuses on baked stuff, which is mainly maybe just cakes and chocolates. I'm not really sure, so don't quote me on this.
Yeah.
But because we also do samosas, and you don't bake samosas really. You fry them. So yeah.
Like it started off initially to provide confectioneries for events, okay?
Yeah.
And then we thought, okay, so for example, Mudiwa has a birthday, and then we bake you a cake, a nice, I don't know, Manchester United cake or something like that. And then like for example, like a friend of ours actually had a birthday, right? And then we went to their house and we baked and everything. And then we're like, actually, people could do with little nibbles, if you know what I mean, like tiny little things they could nibble on.
Yeah.
So that's where the platters and samosas and all of those things came in. So initially, I would say like it's an umbrella of confectioneries, but it still has platter foods, pastries included inside, if that makes sense.
I like that. I like the clarity. Now I'm educated. Now I understand what's going on. And whose idea was it? Like, because I'm sure there's a partnership, but someone tapped the other one on the shoulder and said, "Hey, this is something that can happen." Whose idea was it?
Well, the thing is, I've always wanted to do something like this. But school wouldn't allow. And then this year we're like, well, Tef, we can actually be financially independent. We don't have to ask for money from our parents all the time.
Yeah.
So that's when, and we stay together, we're housemates. So it made sense for us to do it together. We share electricity.
So it was one of those things like, okay, Vinia says, we both have this idea that we're young and we're growing and we should do something with our hands, or something to while up our time, you know what I mean, like something to do extra, if you know what I mean. Then it was so what can we do? I actually didn't know that Vinia baked, and then she was like, she has always had this idea she was sleeping on baking. And then I was like, there we go. I for one, I would say right now, I'm in the process of learning to bake, if you know what I mean. Learning to bake, but before that I couldn't bake to save my life, if you know what I mean. So
is this your coach?
Yes. So and then when she said she could do this baking thing, and then I was like, okay, let's go for it. And then that's how we started doing it, because it was something that was like hands-on for her. So I was like, okay, we can do this, I'll fit myself in. And then And
when would you guys say that you actually started operating properly? Because I'm sure that there are a lot of chats that people have. That's a good idea. That's not a good idea. To actually say, okay, this is us doing, let's say, our first event or our first thing where we're actually at someone's house doing the baking. Like, when for you guys, can you actually guys say that you started?
I think it was in March.
Beginning of the year. I don't remember when sign-ups were, but Chi Alpha, I was with the Chi Alpha Society people, and they wanted to have lollipops for sign up.
Yeah.
I was like, wait guys, why not cupcakes? I'm not gonna sign up if you have lollipops. And then so that's how we came up. And then they were like, okay, fine, but then who's going to bake for us? And so I was like, oh, Taf and I can do it. And then
it was a good time to establish ourselves.
Oh, okay. And how's that been going so far? Because if there's one thing that almost every business person that we have on this show attests to, is the fact that Grahamstown is a very funny market to be operating in. You're not sure, especially when it comes to like the issue of student budgets and all that stuff. So how has the experience been for you guys so far?
I would say, firstly, to start off, like for example, when we did the society sign up, like our first two projects, I would call them, were basically voluntary, if I can say. So we volunteered to make the cupcakes for society sign up, and then we volunteered for there was a women's conference at River of Life Church, a women's breakfast, and then we did volunteer to make cupcakes and savory treats and stuff, breakfasty stuff for the breakfast. And then so I would say, so to begin with, it was voluntary, so we sort of set ground little by little, and then after that we then decided that actually people need to stop paying, so we started going into the market with price lists now, if you know what I mean. So our first actual selling experience was at the St. Mary's Spring Fair Day. So that's when we started off with actual prices, with an actual price list, and actually making a budget, like how much is it going to cost us, and are we going to break even, and all that other stuff. So the market is quite challenging, but for you to penetrate, I feel like we needed this thing where we sort of showed people what we had to offer, and then when we eventually came in with a price, people sort of knew what to expect.
Okay. Vinia?
Yes. Well, the most difficult thing, firstly, was friends.
I can see where this is going, but please.
But yes. No, I love baking for my friends. Like, I really do. But then I got to a point where I'm like, wait, actually, I could be making money, but my friends won't allow me. I feel like if my friends had just decided to maybe volunteer to pay from the get-go, I would have been making money by now. But but besides that, I think that, well, considering Grahamstown, that there are so many other baking companies that are around. The problem with this was that now you have to make sure that you actually know people.
And like she's saying, friends are your biggest market actually. So it takes trying to change Mudiwa's mind that Mudiwa, you actually need to start buying these things.
I'm actually interested in how do you get over that, because I think that's a challenge that a lot of people face, because in the beginning your friends are your biggest supporters, or the people that in your case, so they're the people that are tasting, eating, approving, saying okay, Vinia, yes, Taf, no, this, right? So how do you then make the switch of, fam, it's time, like, especially for someone who's been getting these things for free, and now you're telling them, nah.
Well, like, I mean, of course, like, they do know that it's a business now. So, like, I'm sure they can sort of rationalize and see for themselves that, okay, it's past getting freebies, if you know what I mean. So, like, once in a while, we'll say to a friend, okay, so we have an order of 25 cupcakes and we're going to bake for so-and-so. And, they'll probably come through and they'll know, okay, these cupcakes are for a specific purpose. Then, if they want some, they can get some. Like, they can get some, like, we'll probably give you 1 or 2 cupcakes for free. But from then on, they do get the fact that actually we have to move from the friendship freebies to the the business.
Being a supportive
friend, yeah.
Okay. And in terms of, okay, we've spoken about Grahamstown. Do you guys see yourselves taking this idea out of Grahamstown one day, possibly?
Definitely. Because, well, it's something that, well, we've been doing back at home. Like obviously the target market is parents, friends, their workmates.
Yeah.
Friends, parents. So yeah, since now that we're actually working on prices and working on more, learning how to do proper icing and being professional, I guess it is going far.
Okay. I have a question because you seem to be the more experienced in terms of baking. Has being in business, because it sounds like you've been baking for a while, but has being in business sort of forced you to learn more recipes or try out new things more? Or
in June actually, my mom's friend bakes, so she always does our cakes. So I actually had a little course with her where I'd go to her house, and then she'd give me would go through a lesson. She actually had a lesson plan set, and then so she taught me a few things, new things.
I actually respect that, because you know there's a lot of people who actually sit there and will be like, no, these are the things that I can do,
and I'll stick to that.
Exactly. And I'll just stick to it and I won't go any further. Alright, so the team dynamics, how does that work out? Do you guys have roles? How do you agree on things? I heard there was a price list, that is going on. Like, how did you guys agree on that? Like, do you understand? Like, from a team dynamic point of view, how do you guys deal with, reaching decisions, maybe the conflicts that arise, etc.?
Okay, so as you've noticed that Vinia does all the work on the ground, she does all the baking, she's experienced and everything. And obviously it wasn't going to be a business if I just sat there and said, okay, Vinia and I are in a partnership. So I have a legal background, so this is where I come in. I am the business, I don't know what to call it,
administrator.
I'm the administrator of the business, exactly. So I do all the admin work. So if we need to type up business proposals, that's where I come in. If we need to if we need anything legal, if like things that are like contracts or anything, if we're going to enter into something, that's where I come in. If what else, like price lists, like that's where I do market research, like actually, so how much is the flour, how much is icing sugar and stuff like that. And then that's where I come in with more of the admin work, the typing, the getting orders and stuff like that. So it's actually quite, I don't want to call it simple, but it's actually quite simple. So like Vinia will say, okay, Taf, so a friend of mine needs 25 cupcakes. And then I'll take out my book and then I'll write it down. Okay, so we have an order of 25 cupcakes. And then also because we're students, so I also have to work around the schedule around, okay, so what is Vinia doing in terms of her school? What am I doing in terms of my schoolwork? And then we ask each other these things. So Vinia, are you able to, of course I'm going to help, but are you able to get 25 cupcakes done by 5 p.m.? And do we have actual enough time to do this? Do we have enough money to get the things that we actually need to use and stuff like that? So it's we sort of integrate with each other, because she does the other half of the business and I do the other half of the business, and when you put the two together, it works.
Like a recent example here, yesterday, a friend of mine was having a function today, and she asked if we could bake. In my head I'm like, sure. And then Taf was like, no, but Vinia, we have dinner tonight. Tomorrow morning we have breakfast.
We had a photo shoot.
And then
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
So
in my head, so like making cupcakes.
But
the diary knows, no, Vinia, okay, don't take orders because our diary says this. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like the fact that there's a diary. You know what I mean? Like that's a good thing. And then the other one is school. I have to ask about school. You brought up school. You know, there's a school life thing that has to happen there. How do you guys balance, like, in terms of finding your time? You know, because the experience that I have with the baking world is that if you really want, you know, your cakes, your whatever to come out right, you actually have to spend some time doing it. You know what I mean? You have to, let's say, bake the cake, wait for the cake to cool, then you have to make the icing, and then see, you know, I'm versed in the baking arts. No, I'm just joking, but you know, the little I know of baking, it does take some time, especially if you're gonna be catering for, let's say, 25 plus people, for example. You know, so in terms of that, how do you guys, you know, find the time? I think that's always the question that everyone wants to know, because everyone wants to do something else, but they're like, but where do I find the time?
Well, firstly, our greatest advantage is that we're both master students.
Yes.
We don't have class.
Yes.
We don't have exams. We don't have tests. But we still go to school. In case your mother listens to this, we do go to school.
We're out here baking.
But yeah, I guess that was one of, not really challenges, but we, so far, like Taraf mentioned earlier, we've only been focusing on events where we know that at least they've told us maybe at least 48 hours before. So usually we would have planned our time around that event. So we know that on Saturday these people need 50 cupcakes, and we have to make a plan to actually make sure that will be done by Saturday. So yeah, but we are really looking into taking it to campus and selling for individuals. But we're still working. We have to work around that and actually work around our school schedules and actually see how we can do that and be on campus and still, and also we work at the library, so yeah, we need to work around that.
I think also because luckily we both live together and we sort of have the same, like she said, we both work at the library. So I mean, obviously we don't work at the same time. So I'll give you a practical example of the Women of Influence high tea that happened. We both had schoolwork. Vinia had the proposal that was due, which was very hectic. I had to also get my life together in terms of my assignments and everything, and we needed to cater for this function, okay? So it was a matter of, okay, we need to get this done. So we knew like 48 hours before. So we started preparing bit by bit when we had time. And then it's a matter of, okay, so when Vinia is free, because obviously she does more of the baking stuff, so when she's free she does what she can, and then when I'm free I sort of finish up, if you know what I mean, like, or I'll pre-mix things, I'll get the icing mixed together, I'll get I'll make the dough, the samosa dough,
so it's a support thing.
It's a support thing. So basically, she's the one hand and I'm the other hand. So we have to work around our schedule, because in as much as we still have school, this is still a business as well. So we sort of have to make time as well. So yeah, it's pretty difficult, but I mean, we find ways to get around it, because we also have to prioritize school, and also if we have taken orders and taken people's, like if we say we're gonna provide for this, then it's something that we actually do have to do it. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Last two questions, because unfortunately the time is running away.
Perfect.
First thing, will we be having exotic yummies this vac, you know, because you both live in the same city, right?
Yes.
So will we be having...
Definitely, if you come to Zim, there's definitely festive treats.
Or if you have birthdays in December or anything, even if you just want to chill with your friends.
Yeah. Okay,
the platters are there. Get chickens, get drumsticks, get everything.
Okay. So you heard it right here first. They're going to be operating in Harare, in the Harare area. That's what's going to be happening. And then last thing, for people that want to get in touch with you and say, guys, we need your services, how do they do that? Is there an email? Is there I don't know, what are the channels? How do people get in touch with you guys?
Well, mainly what we have for the business right now is an email address. So it's just exquisite exquisiteyummies@gmail.com.
Okay.
And then we are still working. Admin is still working on the Facebook page. It will be
I
up
like
and
that.
running. It will be up and running soon. And we are also planning to have an Instagram page.
Yeah.
But at the, if you prefer getting in touch with us on Facebook right now,
Yeah.
you can check for Tafadzwa Masunga
Yeah.
or Vinia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
And we also have WhatsApp, which is the fastest way, WhatsApp or calling. I
Okay.
don't know if we should give out numbers now.
No. They can inbox you for the number.
But yes.
Yeah. It's just safer that way. It's
That's
just, it's
true.
just better that way. You never know.
That's
You
true.
know.
Grahamstown does get quite creepy.
Exactly, yeah. But otherwise, thank you so much to the ladies for coming through. As I said, unfortunately, we are running out of time. It is 2 minutes to, so we're just going to end off our show here. A big thank you to everyone who was listening to the show. We gave you our business wrap, and then we gave you the business of confectioneries. Before we actually, had 2 confectioneers. I don't even know if that's a word, but
Sounds cool though.
Yeah, it sounds cool. Confectioneers in the building. Thank you so much to Tafadzwa and to Vinia for coming through for our Real People, Real Careers. As I said, this was the Business Buzz. This is probably my last Business Buzz for the year, and probably my last Business Buzz on RMR.
We are quite graced by being your last participants.
So big shout out to everyone who has been listening to the show so far.
89.7 FM.